for me, it was finding all the internal life of him and who he is and what makes him the way that he is and what he's actually thinking, even though he's not saying much.
Austin Butler's new film, The Bikeriders, is inspired by the Danny Lyon photo book of the same name that documented the lives of a motorcycle club outside Chicago in the 1960s. Stars Butler, Jodie Comer, and Norman Reedus, as well as writer and director Jeff Nichols, sat down with The Hollywood Reporter to talk all about the movie.
What was your prior experience with motorcycles before doing this movie?
Mine was bare minimum. I think I'd been on the back of one once, and it was an old one that was probably very faulty and shouldn't have been on the road.
I grew up, my dad rode motorcycles and my grandfather rode motorcycles, so I'd been on them. You know, I'd ridden on the back of my dad's when I was a little kid, and then at about 15, then he said, "I'm going to teach you how to ride a motorcycle," and so I went out there and learned. But I'd never been on an old bike before, and it's very different. And so that was the big learning curve for me, was just getting used to all the different personalities of each old bike, and yeah, that was fun.
But you're the man in charge. I'm Sonny.
You're a known motorcycle enthusiast, so did Jeff come to you, or how did you get involved in this movie?
So I was doing Daryl Dixon in Paris. I was filming. Went to Cannes. I sat at a dinner with Jeff. He goes, I'm directing a film called The Bikeriders. And I was like, the Danny Lyon's photo book? And he goes, wow, you know that? And I said, yeah, I have a few prints at home. I have a signed Danny book. Then he sent me the script. He told me who was in it. And I was like, Jeff, you got a lot of good looking guys in this movie. Can I try something else and just go in that direction? And he was like, yeah, go for it.
Reedus plays Funny Sonny, a bike rider from California who travels to Illinois, where Butler's character Benny is the newest member of a motorcycle club made up of local outsiders. Comer portrays Kathy, a strong-willed woman inextricably drawn to Benny.
Well, so what are we doing here? Just shooting the breeze?
Yeah, I guess.
Both Comer and Butler opened up about taking on their roles.
I heard you listened to the recordings that the interviews for the book are based on to really get her accent down. Can you talk to me about the process and the challenges of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I met Jeff on a Zoom and I'd read the script and we were just kind of talking about the material and what I felt. And then at the very end of the call, like as we were getting off, he was like, you know, I have like 30 minutes of audio of her. And I was like, why is this not in my inbox? Like, can you like send me this right now? So he did. And I was like, oh, okay. I work very closely with the dialect coach, Victoria, who's incredible. And it was just about like really kind of, you know, getting to grips with the material and trying to make it feel as authentic as possible.
Benny has this really underlying rage that we see come out in really dramatic ways sometimes. Where do you think that comes from? And did you do any sort of character work on his backstory, either on the real person, or did you fill in those gaps?
Yeah, there was a lot that I had to fill in for him. I think it's a lot to do with his own relationship with his father, and there being a lot in his family life. You know, that because he's very young when he joins the club, and to have that type of rage. So I worked a lot on that, trying to figure out, you know, what his childhood was like.
For Butler, The Bikeriders follows his performance in Elvis, which earned him Golden Globe and BAFTA trophies, as well as an Oscar nomination. THR recently named the actor one of the top 10 young movie stars taking Hollywood by storm, with one agency source saying, quote, everyone wants him to be the lead of everything right now.
As a director who's had him lead a movie, why do you think that is?
I think it's because he's a movie star, and they don't grow on trees. And the truth is, it's not just because he's good looking, but it's because he's got a lot going on. There's a lot of depth to this young man, and we are seeing the beginning of a movie star.
The filmmaker also opened up about directing Emmy and BAFTA winner Comer.
Jodie's one of the greatest actors I've ever worked with. The amount of work that she put into this character is really unbelievable. But the reason I cast her was because the first time I talked to her, she had read the script, and the way that she talked about Kathy was the way that I felt about Kathy. She loved her. She admired her. She was confused and confounded by her at times. All things that I felt. And I knew that she would hold that relationship to that character very delicately.
The Bikeriders rides into theaters on June 21st. For more on the film, head to THR.com. For The Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Tiffany Taylor.